At 33, I'm getting to the age where my childhood and adulthood are beginning to overlap. My memories are blurred together as I begin to raise my own children, little as they are. And I'm beginning to look back on how my teenage years were shaped by the entertainment and technology of the mid-2000s. I find myself often looking at my own kids, and I'm trying to find any and all analogs or similarities between their upbringing and my own, even though they're so small. I'm beginning to become a little bit overwhelmed that by the time my own kids are teenagers, it'll be the 2030s and their world will look drastically different. And we still have a lot of time before we better understand what the future will look like for them. 10 years is a long time, but at the same time, it's a flash in the pan. I previously did a series on Nier's beautiful musical themes, and you can click in the upper right, left thing to check out those videos. What was really rewarding about analyzing those themes was beginning with the story of the character behind the theme that I would be analyzing. In order to first understand why a musical theme has so much impact and power, it has to accompany an equally, if not better, emotional story. I typically argue that you could have the best unique or technically perfect melody, orchestration, harmony, rhythm, production, and your music would still fall incredibly flat if your story is not fleshed out behind that character. So for each of these, I start out with the character's context and then flesh out the importance of the music in a sort of theoretical analysis at the end. If you're watching this video, you're probably not subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Also, if you like these videos, please hit the like button once, and if you dislike, press the dislike button twice. In terms of introductions, Roxas was the literal and metaphorical poster boy of the series. Kingdom Hearts 2 released in 2006 for Western audiences. This was about 4 or 5 years after the first Kingdom Hearts, and in today's day and age, it's amazing to look back and see how developers would work so quickly to release sequels and trilogies for the same console like the PlayStation 2. I think of the .hack series or Xenosaga as a few examples. To a layman like myself, it makes sense if you think about it deeply enough, because they're likely just recycling assets and creating a few new ones, and boom, you got a new game with new story beats, with new settings, all set within the same context or universe. This really differs from sequels today. When it comes to sequels, most of the time they feel like they're in different universes, because by the time a sequel in a video game series comes out these days, almost a decade has passed and a new iteration is set on a new video game console using a new gaming engine, like a leap from Unreal Engine 4 to 5, or a different kind of Unity engine with different assets and different art style. If we're using different gaming engines, inevitably the assets and art direction are going to change. And I think these were the main pitfalls for the jump from Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3 for me, but that's just a completely different video topic. All this to say, the jump from 2002 to 2006 was a breath of fresh air, but not so different that it confused us or made it feel too new or like an unrelated sequel. The jump from Kingdom Hearts 1 to Kingdom Hearts 2 was polish, but also creativity and taking risks in art direction while staying true to itself. Roxas being at the center of the story was fresh because between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, players might have been fatigued by Sora and his personality altogether. Roxas' story was also so refreshing. It was a new character with new motivations, fresh perspective, and different desires. Additionally, in terms of context, I was, like most gaming guys and gals in 2006, hitting my own coming-of-age story. We were right on the edge of Web 2.0, but it had not been widely adopted or accessible, especially in the rural United States where I grew up. 2006 was before any real concerns of digital rights management or DRM, or the compulsion by most publishers to tie you to a constant internet connection just to play a game you already paid in full for. Dare I say it, 2006 was a simpler time. I think all of us playing Kingdom Hearts 2 understood Roxas' context because we could so easily relate to him. Kingdom Hearts is ultimately a Disney game, as well as Square Enix. But if you were a teenager in the mid-2000s, Disney had you in in the crosshairs. They had everything in terms of high school. Coming of age, like High School Musical, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, and so much more. So needless to say, they had the demographic down. Combine that with Square Enix's high fantasy experience between their Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest titles, you had a recipe for a moody, angsty, emotional coming-of-age story. Roxas functions as this tutorial of the game as you spend a couple of days playing as his character and his entourage of friends. Your objective is to save enough money to go to the beach because it's summer vacation. What else do you do? In the end, Roxas and his crew face consistent obstacles blocking their path, whether it be not having enough money because it was stolen, enemies blocking the pathway, or missing the train. They ultimately never make it to the beach despite all their strife and struggle. See what I did there? Looking back on this emotionally, this really reminds me of a recurring nightmare I get where I'm struggling to get there. I struggle to get somewhere in my nightmares. I try to get somewhere, but I can never reach it. It could look like missing a final exam in college, or missing my ride to spring training for drum corps, or not getting to work and getting fired. Roxas and his friends never making it to the beach is symbolic of this constant struggle, distraction, and obligation. All these things that block us from opportunity to grow and change and become who we were meant to be. I know, dude, you're looking way too into it, but that quote, "It looks like my summer vacation is over," hit us all differently.
Sora. You're lucky. Looks like my summer vacation's over.
If you've at least finished the tutorial of Kingdom Hearts 2, you know why it's so much more sad and painful than just a teenage kid missing out on summer vacation. Roxas' memories have been erased or replaced, and he's a nobody, never meant to exist apart from the tragedy of another boy, Sora. In an article written by Amity Grosdin, she writes, quote, "Dreams about being late most commonly reflect some combination of performance anxiety and the fear of being found inadequate, a felt sense of being behind in some area of life, not necessarily literally, difficulty transitioning between life phases or responsibilities, or an overload of obligations that your nervous system is trying to process during sleep. The specific scenario matters less than the emotional texture of the dream. That texture, the particular dread, the helplessness, the desperate scramble, is what the dream is communicating. From a depth psychology perspective, what you're late for in the dream is often worth examining. Being late for an exam speaks to feelings about being tested or evaluated. Being late for a flight speaks to life direction and opportunity. Being late for a social event speaks to belonging and relational anxiety. The scenario is symbolic, not literal." End quote. Between the struggle of Roxas's identity, losing his memories of friends he made like Axel and Xion, and unknowingly being a pawn in a story bigger than himself, Roxas's context is riddled with unspoken, unrealized sadness. The breadth and depth of the sadness isn't fully unveiled to the player until near the end of the game. Throughout the many hours you might invest in Kingdom Hearts 2, playing as the main character Sora, you'll revisit your friend Roxas in new, revealed story beats of his forgotten past. Each time his theme is played, a piano is accompanied by a piccolo. Eventually, Roxas stands off against Sora. What seems like a random but seemingly important battle triggers a new arrangement of Roxas's theme, called The Other Promise. This title is so evocative. What other promise? Who made this promise? Roxas to Sora? Was the promise broken, or was it not fully realized? With the weight of unrealized potential, missed opportunities, and being a literal tragic anomaly, it's no easy thing to create a theme that would adequately convey this meaning. Yoko Shimomura, the composer, made a theme that's so simple and memorable while being rich with potential for variation in different contexts, like The Other Promise. The melody is the single reason why I could memorize the sound of the note F. I listened to this theme so much I could whistle an F at any moment and use it for my own sort of relative pitch throughout music school. The piece is in D minor, and interestingly uses piccolo solo over piano with a simple chord progression and melody. Musically, theoretically, there's nothing complex or unique about the melody and harmonic progression, but I think that's what really contributed to the profundity of many of the wonderful RPG themes composed during this time. Simplicity was, and still is, a theme's strength. To be memorable without being trite or overly simplistic or distractingly complex is a skill in and of itself. To be unique enough to not sound like anything before it without being totally unrecognizable. This combination that I can remember a melody but remember it specifically for Roxas is a very powerful thing. Do we all have a mirror image? Someone inside ourselves wrestling to be in balance, a shadow as Jung calls it? Some part of us that's missing out on our full potential? Someone who's missing their own summer vacation in order to play a larger part in our story? Or are we the ones who need to accept that in our own life? That, in some regards, we are to lay down our lives for the ones around us. Maybe by accepting our fate like Roxas, we can finally be at peace. By accepting our fate, our nightmares might end and we can finally find relief in both waking and dreaming. Instead of succumbing to fear and hopelessness, we can willingly submit ourselves to the part of our lives that needs us. If you're still here, thanks for adventuring into this great unknown with me. Thanks for watching.